Tonight on Mental Health Matters with Marty, we're continuing our series with House Calls with Dr. Allen as we address obesity and the Black community as it pertains to the pandemic. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome again to another episode of Mental Health Matters with Marty. And yes, I am still Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist, coming to you live and in living color from Southern California. Well, listen, the sun is always shining, but we're about to hit some dusk. And we are so glad that you're joining us for this series. So excited about this series called House Calls with Dr. Allen, none other than Dr. Allen of the Gardena Women's Center here in Southern California. And we have been talking about, if this is your first time joining us, we have been dealing with the pandemic and how it has affected us. Because we already know that there's a disproportionate number of us in our Black and brown communities who have caught COVID, who have died from COVID. And we don't want you to continue to suffer in silence in the shadow of shame. But as I say on this show, it's time that we speak up. We speak out in order that we might be able to live. So let us know you're out there. Let us know who's listening. Where are you listening from? As a reminder, this show is strictly for educational purposes only. We are giving our medical suggestions and our medical advice. We do not want you to take this as a hardcore. We still want you, if you're experiencing any type of emergency, to see your medical professional, whether it's in physiological health or in mental health. We are to be a supplement to the services that you are already receiving. Or if you have questions about it, please contact your provider. So do not take us to court or anything like that, because listen, let me tell you something. We're going to be like, we didn't do it. We only gave you our advice. So anyway, listen, while you're in this here, put some people in the memo section. Hey, what's going on, Lula? How are you? Good to see you. Put people in the memo section that you know need to be in this show and catch this out. We have some amazing Black female doctors who are doing the damn thing wherever they are at, and we are so excited about them. So, wait a minute. Hold on, I'm getting my stuff together. Okay, I got you. I'm pulling back. I got excited, y'all. I get so excited and I get loud. But listen, let me bring on my co-host that I'm so glad to know her. We've been knowing each other for a long time. Paula, good evening. Long time no see. We just jumped off a show together and we were dealing with suicide in the Black community. Kim, what's going on, darling? You know I got nothing but love for you. But let me bring on Lorraine. How are you? Definitely. Come on, let us know you're out there. So let me bring on my co-host, none other than the fabulous, the world-renowned, the one and only, yes, that's right, the Miss Delta herself, none other than the owner of the Gardena Women's Center, and she's like my sister from another mister, none other than Dr. Gwen Allen.
I love that fabulous intro. You know,
yes.
This camera, camera put 50 pounds on you, but I
that's
guess
all right.
What we're going to be talking about today, though.
Right.
It is. I'm just love to be here again, spread knowledge, trying to
that's
talk
right.
about what's happening, and it's great to see you again in sunny California. As
that's right.
Lighting is getting a lot better.
Right.
My is getting a little bit thicker though too. So, hey, Jazz, look, this is my niece on the phone talking about let's get it started.
That's right.
On a little
yes, Shelly.
Again today, but I'm excited to be here to tell people again, continuing with our series on COVID, how it's affecting everyone, how it's affecting our health, how it's affecting our bodies. And today's topic is a great one because as African Americans, we already suffer from diabetes and hypertension.
Right.
Now COVID has kept us indoors and we're getting bigger and eating more and bad choices, and we're just getting bigger and bigger. Instead of us exercising, we're buying bigger and bigger clothes because of the stimulus checks. So therefore,
listen, take that little $1,400 and do something else with it.
Right. Besides buy bigger clothes, because your stomach getting bigger, But so we're going to talk more or less about how we can do some good things and talk to about people about their weight, how to change their lifestyle because of
Yes.
COVID, how to have a good mind body dichotomy
Yes.
blend so that we can get these things over with. And again,
Yes.
before we get started, um, we're missing one doctor today, and we just want to send out
Oh,
prayers
yes.
for her and her family. Unfortunately, her mom was in a car accident, and
Yes.
Shelly will not be with us tonight, but she's in our hearts and our prayers. We
That's
hope
right.
everything will be all right with her family. She will join us on the next series. But I just want to let everyone know that we will only have two doctors on the panel, and Shelly will join us next time. But we still will be able to talk about obesity in children, and how that's
Yes.
affecting everyone at this point.
Yes, that's great. Great. Dr. Allen, how are you doing? I mean, you're facing COVID day in and day out. See, I do Zoom session. I do telehealth from Zoom. Like, you seeing anybody? No, you stay at home. And I'm fully vaccinated, like I know you are. But how are you doing? How because you're in the front lines.
Right. I mean, it's very challenging every day, every week. You see, even though this has actually become a part of the attire, we got black,
Yes.
white ones, and we have N95s and 92,
Mm-hmm.
and then also we wear these all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Psychologically, it's been like we talked about before, it's a
Yes.
hard thing to do just to come in day out. And people think that COVID is slowing down. COVID is out there, and it hasn't gone anywhere. So just because the government and the states are
Right.
letting up some of the restrictions, we still have
Right.
to be very, very careful
Thank you.
out there affecting other people, because you don't know when you're sitting in a room with someone if they've been tested or have they got their shots, or they can be an asymptomatic carrier. So we need to be very careful, and that's what I think about all the time.
Right.
Think about my family, my
Right.
91-year-old mom, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just the fact that people are still, want to get out there. The sun is great,
Mm-hmm.
springtime is here, and so let's do something about it. So um we have to make sure that I'm sorry, we're reading the comments. Hey,
Listen.
Nina. Hey, Nina's one of my patients. I love you to death,
Right.
Nina. Thank you for looking out for us and everything like that. So I just want to say Marty is on a 10 and I'm on a 6. So here I'll move up a little bit so we can both go to a 10.
No, listen. I get excited. I get excited.
Right. So we just want to bring good information to you guys
Yes.
tonight. And we've all picked up a little weight, during the
Right.
pandemic. We're going to discuss the psychological impact. We're going to talk
Right.
about our choices. We're going to talk about what you can do to get yourself healthy in the next level so we can survive this pandemic and come out of this on top.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. It says, Dr. Allen, how can we be of assistance to our friends and families in the medical field? Thank you, Paula. That's a great question because, we need to know how can we assist you guys because, we know you're there. Our hearts go out because we don't know what to do. And I love that's a great question, Paula. So how can we be supportive to our friends and family in the medical field?
I think the biggest support is getting the word out there, letting them know that they should actually take the vaccine to get vaccinated. And if you're not going to take the vaccine, just wear a mask, protect yourself,
Yes.
continue to be socially distant and responsible. The biggest thing is
Yes.
that people are, letting their guards down and not responsible. The
Mm-hmm.
government want the kids to go back to school. So now the 6-foot limit is now the 3-foot limit. So you
Yes.
just have to know your limitations and you have to become responsible. So tell your family members, we don't have to have a gathering of 30. Anybody who knows
Right.
me, immediate family gathering is 30 people. So,
Right.
so now we're cutting down, well, you got to be immediate now to come over. So
Right. Right.
that means my immediate family, which is my brother and sister. Sorry, Jasmine, you can't come over. No, I'm joking. We have
Look.
to make sure that we have to be socially responsible.
Right. We can tell the ones we didn't like that well anyway. So, ain't no room. We're in COVID. Stay home.
Stay home. Keep the COVID with you.
Right. Right. Well, without any further ado, let's bring on our other two doctors who are our guests as well. Normally from Chicago, sitting on Lake Michigan. She is out here in Southern California with us tonight. We're so glad that Dr. Jamie Horn is here with us. Dr. Horn, come on to the stage.
Hi.
How-
I'm good.
You're looking good.
I am good. I am in California. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Sunshine, so I am feeling good.
Wonderful. Well, it's good to see you. And how are you doing? How are you doing with the pandemic and you being, on the front lines as well? We want to know how our medical professionals who are protecting us, are you being protective and how are you doing during all this?
First of all, I want to say, Gwen, I feel attacked by talking about buying the bigger clothes. Ain't nothing wrong with a little legging and stretchy pants. That is like what I live in right now. I'm doing good. Taking these short breaks. I'll be here in California for about 4 days.
Okay.
It feels good just to walk away for a little bit. So I'm going to enjoy my time here, spend some time with my family. My parents have gotten vaccinated. Haven't seen my dad in almost a year, so I'm excited.
Hey. Yes.
To go see him because he's older. He doesn't FaceTime, so we're not able.
Right.
I haven't, physically laid eyes on him or seen him through a telephone. So I'm excited about that. You had asked, what can our friends and family do?
Yes. What can they do?
Calling in to check. It means a lot to me when my friends have called me just to say, how are you doing? Just to talk about not necessarily COVID or medicine, but to talk about something they saw on Instagram or send me something funny that they thought I might enjoy.
Right.
Those mean a lot. Hearing somebody's voice and laughing.
That's good. Thank you for sharing that. See, it's about the continuing to stay socially contacting one another in that. And then without any further, from Louisiana, right? We want to bring in the preaching doctor herself, because when she start going in, she will preach us under. My mama loves you. So let's bring in Dr. Gisselle McKinney. How are you?
Hello.
Listen, you got a following. Folks love you, baby. They like, okay, who is that preaching doctor? She tells it like it is. I'm like, I know that's right.
Oh my goodness. Yes, thank you for having me again.
Listen, I couldn't imagine this without the three of you guys. We gonna take this road on take this show on the road.
Well, let's get going. Like Jamie, she's already in California. I could use a break from Louisiana too.
Come on back. Come on out. Yes. How are you doing in the midst of everything that's going on?
Oh, my goodness. It is extremely stressful. Louisiana has a uniqueness that some people here don't believe that the virus is real. Some people are afraid of the vaccine. They're afraid of taking it. They are denial of the disease. So that puts more people at risk. You can't even let your guard down if you've already been fully vaccinated like myself. So I continue to wear my N95. I still do the 6 feet distance. I even have COVID positive pregnant patients. So I have to be hyper vigilant because they didn't get the vaccine. Their family members didn't get the vaccine. So you're constantly on education. You're constantly readjusting how you deal with things.
Right.
The stress level is high. The tendency to want to eat your feelings is extremely high. But you have to think about what the consequence of everything you do will be. And that'll put you in a higher risk category if you do get sick. Yeah. There are, in Texas alone, all of the other variants are already in Texas. And Texas had the intelligent decision to go maskless and release all of their restrictions. So they're just an hour away from foolishness. So it comes to so
yeah. We're telling everybody from Texas, y'all got to stay in Texas. We're going to quarantine all the Texas folk.
Right.
Yeah.
Then,
is everything open in Louisiana now?
No.
You have to wear a mask there?
Well, funny you should ask. Because people don't believe in it, they will fuss at you in stores that have policies, banks that have policies. You'll go in the bank, you'll wear your mask, and there'll be, of course, someone that doesn't want to wear it and putting the people that work in those customer service businesses at risk. Grocery stores, banks, Target, Walmart, you have to be constantly vigilant about yourself because other people are disrespectful to your personal space as well as to the health guidelines. So my mother used to say, you can't fix stupid,
Well,
we're doing okay in Illinois. A lot of people are wearing their masks.
Okay.
I don't see a lot of people not wearing a mask or a lot
you want to come visit?
Oh, heck and no. I'm good.
Dr. Allen, you have some questions for us tonight. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the things we got our audience tonight, and I think first thing we want to talk about is obesity in the African American community. One of us, all of us sit around, we talk about to our friends and our family, and we're starting to use this new word thick, or the young people, I like to be thick. We talked about that before. Jamie we had a little joke and said, I'm thicker than a Snicker. Now, what is that? The Snicker is a chocolate bar and all things of that nature. So now you're thicker than a Snicker.
Thick and sweet, baby. Thick and sweet.
Thick and sweet. And on top of that, you bring COVID. So we're going to have COVID with thicker than a Snicker. So that means you're obese, you got diabetes, and you got heart disease. So we have to stop these myths of that I'm big boned. And then now with all this other stuff going on, we have to look out for our community. So when we come out and say, hey, how do we define obesity? And that's what we want to talk to you about tonight. And Dr. Horn, how would you classify an obese patient in your patient population, your practice? What would you say obese? If I come to you and I'm 5'4", let's say I'm 5'6", 220 pounds, will you consider me thick, or would you consider me fat or obese? Let's be clear about what we're doing.
Right.
Politically correct.
Politically correct.
We don't use the term thick. We don't use the term fat. It's obesity is the appropriate term. And how obesity is determined, it's based on your weight and your height. It is your weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared. And so given the number, it'll determine if you're underweight, normal weight, or obese. Overweight starts at a BMI between 25 and 29. Obesity starts over 30. And there are different classes of obesity. There's the class 1 that is 30 to 34, class 2, 35 to 39, and class 3 is 40, which unfortunately I see a lot of my patients come in with a BMI of 40, 41, 42. I remember Dr. McKinney told me she had a patient with a BMI of 50. That is not thick. That is not slim thick. That is obese.
Slim thick?
Right.
I got to use that one.
A thing in order to recognize it. And it's no judgment. It's a medical term. You're not judged if you have diabetes. You're not judged if you have heart disease. Right. Obesity is the same thing. And once you categorize it, you need to figure out a way that you personally are going to get it together.
Right. And I think one of the biggest problems that we have is that now COVID and being on lockdown has just taken this obesity thing to the next level.
Yes.
So now your thickness or your obesity has now become, I like the way I look because I didn't have time to exercise. So we have to talk about how do we make sure that we stay healthy in this pandemic phase. How, Dr. McKinney, how will we stay healthy? How would you suggest that these people stay healthy?
That's
what do they need to do?
Well, once again, I think part of our problem in our discussion goes back to socioeconomic status and redlining, as well as, how we treat our poor and disadvantaged in this country. If we could have gardens and community gardens and give fresh fruits and vegetables to people who had less access, that doesn't cost us a lot. Seeds are not expensive. We have donated time. So rather than building dialysis centers, if we built food markets and we built community gardens, we could address that. But the majority of people, even in urbanized areas, have lack of their food deserts. You can get to a Pizza Hut or a Frito pie quicker than you can get to an apple.
Yes.
So when you're at home in COVID and you have no access to healthy food, your next bet is any food, and that's junk. And that junk leads to us gaining weight. I had a teenager that came in since COVID and has gained 60 pounds. That's not normal. That's not even healthy. This was a once 130-pound girl, 130, 140 pounds, that's now close to 200 pounds, and she is only 14. How did this happen? She got depressed, and eating and food was her only thing in her outlet. Now, since we're in a pandemic, I just missed her name. She said walking in a park. That's perfectly excellent. That's if you got a park. If you don't have a park, you don't have a decent school with a track on it. These are things that are missing in more urbanized areas or more Black communities. We don't have parks. We don't have parks near us. So you have to get somebody that has a car to take you to it in order to get to it. And even compounded worse in this area in Southwest Louisiana was 2 hurricanes and an ice storm that now there's nothing. You have no house to live in. So those people are suffering even more. So we have to address the elephant in the corner, is that how do we deal with the food issues to give fair access to everybody? And then we can address how do we get them fresh food when the closest store is a Kroger, or not even Kroger, Walmart. Walmart don't have nothing fresh. I should have said that.
No, and there's no disclaimer, Walmart. We're not trying to put you on the ground.
You're all right. But that's the truth, because we go to Walmart and we have to learn to take the excuse out of why we can't do something. There's enough. We can do some sit-ups, we can do some push-ups, jumping, whatever it is, just to get the blood flowing and push back from the table. But I love that we don't talk enough about the food deserts that we have. And I think people don't even, they've heard the terminology, but they don't understand it. And we're definitely talking about, like you said, healthy, fresh fruits and vegetables that we can get. I now get imperfect foods, and you get some discounts with it, and I have it delivered to my house. And then you get discount on that. So now I'm having every 2 week supply of fresh fruits and vegetables that's being delivered to me that the stores are going to kick out. Or even when I was in a school, I taught the kids how to go to the food banks and get find the ones that had the fresh fruits and vegetables, and we learned how to make homemade foods from the food banks. There's lots of things that we can do.
Well, I mean, if you have lack of access to food, we should be able to find a way we can teach how people to plant and make their own food. I remember when Jamie's babies were little, she made doggone baby food when none of us was even interested in that.
That's right.
So we have to be more self-sufficient for our own community to give the things that we need. And someone posted about the BMI. BMI is probably not the best, and it's outdated, but it's the best tool we have currently. The United States is, I think, Jamie, isn't it the most obese country in the world? Yes. And we have a lot of health disparities and comorbid factors because of it. So that's the tool we have. It's outdated, but that's the only one we have at this time.
But I also want people to understand that all human beings are built from the same thing: muscle, bones, and blood. True enough, our makeup is a little bit different, meaning that how we're formed. Somebody may be more bust, somebody may have rounder hips and things like that. So the BMI, like, Dr. McKinney states, is important. However, you have to make sure that you cannot dismiss that. You cannot be 5'2", 220 and said that the BMI is off because I'm Black and I'm thick. That does not count. So we have to be realistic. We have to look at ourselves and say, if you got back fat and you have a belly that hangs over your pubic hair, we have some things that we
come
need
on
to
and
work
tell
on.
The truth.
So we need to understand, and we need to look at ourselves and say, like people say, oh, my wrist is thin, so I'm supposed to be skinny. So those of me like Ray Charles, remember that? He used to
right.
You date
he couldn't see, but he would feel the wrist.
He would feel that wrist. Ray Charles would swear up and down, I'm 120 pounds, but you got that round. You got that wrong, Ray. Because again, my midsection, my butt and all that. So we as Black women, we need to step back a little bit and say, hey, are we healthy? You got these Black men running around having these women making these small waists and these big butts and things like that. And those things are not healthy for us.
Right.
We need to look at ourselves and say, am I a healthy weight? Do I feel good about myself? Do my knees hurt? Do my back hurt? Those are the things that carry along things about what you should do with your life. You can't look at the next person and say, I'm smaller than that one, therefore I am healthy. Or then this is a killer. So we're in a time of the pandemic. And so some people say, I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to eat a salad. But your salad is as big as a pie pizza.
You platter.
You got a 12-inch platter, and you're talking about that you're on a diet. Really? So just because you got to understand your portion control. I'm not going to say the majority of people, if you take a look at their plate, right? They have a little plate and they have 4 little things, right? We have a little piece of the protein, a little piece of the starches, and a fruit, a vegetable, and a meat, right? You go to us, we have a barbecue every day where you have the macaroni and cheese, the meat on top of that, and the plate stacks about this high. And we want to know why we're obese as people. Our choices are bad, and we need to make better choices. But it's not only the fact that our choices are wrong, and like Dr. Gisselle said, I'm calling you Dr. Gisselle like Marty. Sorry. The biggest problem that we have is that in our supermarkets, you cannot run out. Even today, I live on another side of town where my mom lives, right? My mom has a supermarket that I don't know where there's a fresh vegetable, number one. Right. Come to my side of town, I can get strawberries, I can get cabbage, fruit I never seen. When I saw like an orange bell pepper, I was like, what the? But you didn't see that on the other side of town. So those are the things that we need to educate. We need to educate our people about to let them know that you need to make healthy choices. Just because you shut in, you need to do something else. Dr. Horn, what do you tell people to do? How do they get moving? What do we do to get moving, to get out? What do they need to do?
I just want to go back 1 second about how you were talking about our grocery stores don't have a lot of fresh fruits and produce.
Right.
One of my patients had mentioned to me, well, Dr. Horn, what am I supposed to do? This is my store and this is all they have. You still have choices in that store, meaning you can, if they don't have the fresh vegetables and fruits, they do have frozen. Is fresh better than frozen? Yes. But those frozen vegetables and fruits is better than the chips and the cakes and the candies. So you do have some choice, and you need to make better choices. I tell my patients all the time, soda and juice, you don't need none of that. Water. And I know water is not the great, sometimes you want a little kick, but if a majority of the things you drink, the majority of what you drink is water, you're doing better off than drinking the sodas, the honest teas, and all that garbage. Okay, so as far as moving.
I love that shift. She said, okay. But you can also put a little lemon wedge or a little orange wedge or something in there too.
In it. And what I like to do is I'll have about this much juice and fill it up with water just to give my water a little taste.
A little something.
Just a little something. As far as moving, the three of us had talked about this earlier. Like, all of us don't have access to a gym membership. All of us don't have access to an exercise bike. But there are free things that you can do. There are YouTube. Type in exercise. There are so many free things on YouTube. You can learn how to dance to your latest video. There was a twerk video on there that I was my old self trying to do.
Negative.
Right.
I'm with you to them.
Right. We're going to leave that alone.
TikTok.
Right. There are all kinds of things that you can do. Put on some tennis shoes and walk. And one of us earlier in the conversation was saying, well, everybody might not feel comfortable and safe in their neighborhood. Well, get a friend to walk with you. I know I do better when I walk with the group. I was running with a group of women in the Chicago area called Women Run the World. And those women are the women that really got me into running. We'd be out at 5 o'clock in the morning.
God bless
sun,
you.
Sleet, snow. and we weren't even
I drove the car.
Right. We weren't running on a path. We were running on Lincoln Highway, which is just like a major street in our area. At 5 in the morning on the sidewalk, all of us together. We felt safe. And it was fun. I know this sounds crazy to some people, but it was fun. Working out with the same group of women, laughing and talking. I enjoyed myself doing that. And that group isn't unique. There are tons of groups like that in people's neighborhoods. And if you can't find a group, grab a friend. Grab your husband, grab your man, grab your
Grab somebody. But that speaks to the whole psychological support of that too, that I'm not doing this in isolation,
Right.
but I have these other people to encourage me. Like when I go on, if you're fasting or if you're going on a changing your health habits, having someone that's there so that you don't feel alone
Right.
does so much for your psychological work
Right.
that pushes you to the next level. And we got to stop thinking we can do this by ourselves. Grab
'Cause you
someone.
can't.
You can't.
You never actually could have, because almost all of weight loss is mental.
Yes.
You once you, even Weight Watchers, the Lose It app, or the MyFitnessPal or My Running Pal, all of those apps that are free, but they have a paid version. They're doing, including Noom, which is kind of cost prohibitive for some people. All they're doing is trying to change your mindset. With Weight Watchers, they give you over 100 free foods. But what are those free foods? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains.
Right.
They tell you eat these better foods to your heart's content, and then you can have some of these higher point foods. It's triggering your mind. If you say it takes 21 days to charge to a new habit and 90 days to cement it, if you do this tracking for just 21 days to begin with and 90 days, you will have changed your whole mindset and how you approach food and exercise. And so exercise gives you the license to eat that slice of pizza. Now, me, if I'm gonna work out for an hour, I'm not eating a slice of pizza. I'm just gonna be honest.
Well, see, that's the thing. A lot of people think, if I exercise, I can eat this. I hate to get in that mindset, because you cannot outrun a bad diet. Lord knows I didn't try it. Like,
Me too.
and go to McDonald's.
Right.
Like, why the hell aren't I losing any weight? Well, I'm not
Yes.
losing because I can't outrun bad eating habits. I was able to control my weight a little bit when I watch what I eat, watch my water intake, and still exercise. So
And people confuse hunger with boredom and thirst.
Ooh.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Preach
You
that.
can be thirsty and you'll tell yourself, I just need a bag of chips.
Yep.
Drink
Ooh.
one bottle of water. I'm
Water.
not saying, I'm not promoting Dasani. I'm just saying.
We know that. We know.
Mine
Yeah.
too.
Just drink one bottle of water. I bet you won't eat the chips.
Right.
So and there is zero nutritional value in soda. No grown adult needs juice.
Right.
And some of your sweet teas are not good for you. You can just so substitute it for something that has no calories or less calories, and it'll make a big difference.
Right.
I
We had a
have
question-
patients with BMIs of 75,
Wow.
and all they do is drink and eat all day long. They eat one meal, but it lasts all day long.
That's good. We had a question about the keto diet, and what is your recommendation about that? I know that it's definitely that's Dr. This is Robin McCall. Robin, I got to have you on the show. She is one of my licensed clinicians that is working for me, supervising my people. But yes, what about the keto diet?
I can talk to that. I was one of the persons who did a keto diet for a while. Anything is possible for a short period of time. What we tend to do is do the keto diet, meaning you eating a lot of meats and the vegetables, but you also have to understand what your baseline is. If you are already hypertensive with high cholesterol, why would you go and eat 6 pieces of bacon? So you have to be very understanding about what is your need and what's your intake. Just because someone lost weight on keto, that may not be a healthy thing for you. So you have to know your body. If you're a diabetic, you're not going to do a keto diet like that. So you have to be very careful. And then also anything that's a fast diet, you will also bounce back later on, because what we're trying to get you is change your mindset. So if you start doing again, we're not promoting exercises or any exercise or any diet over one another, but we're trying to get you to change your mindset. If you get out and move and eat in moderation and get a variety of food, then you will actually have weight loss. The problem, what we want to do, and even as Black women, I'm guilty of that, quick fixes. I have been on every single diet there is. I have been on Weight Watchers. I have been on the keto diet. I have been on Lindora. I have been on phentermine pills, which we will talk to you about a little bit
Don't
later.
forget cabbage soup.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. And then we get-
That would just make you gassy.
Right.
Oh, but listen,
Eliminate
that cabbage soup
Eliminate
diet was a fad for a good minute.
Right.
It was.
Yeah.
And all these are fad diets. And what we're trying to do, you say, in the midst of that, you can understand we're coming into a pandemic, going out of a pandemic, but we started off on the wrong side of that scale. Right. Then we tipped that scale by sitting in the house, being bored, picking up anything, not making choices. Now we're talking to you to how we're going to come out of this. We need to make good, sound choices. We need to, the sun is shining. We're in daylight savings time, is longer hours. We need to get moving and make choices. Keto is not for everybody. And you got to understand, whatever you do, you can't eat like that for the rest of your life. That's very detrimental to your kidneys. You know, they say, oh, we want to be in ketosis. My thing to you, how we teach our diabetics to eat is 5 small portions throughout the day. Yes. If you eat a big chunk of food, your body is like a fireplace. You know, a lot of us don't really have fireplace. Mine is gas. But when you put wood on a fireplace, right?
Right.
Once that wood burns out, that's it. So what you got to understand is you need something constantly going every hour, all the time. That's why we say eat 5 small meals a day, because that increases your body metabolism. You have a better chance of losing weight by increasing your metabolism. The older we get, the slower our metabolism get. And as women, you guys know that soon as you hit menopause, which I have not hit that yet, but soon as you hit menopause, your body metabolism, that's there. I don't even know these women. But
I love it.
You know, Gisselle got gray hair. I don't know what that is up. No, anyway. As soon as you hit menopause,
girl, that's what you got.
Whatever it takes.
Right? I'm still looking young. When you hit menopause, that metabolism goes into the trunk. So you have to do some things to say, what am I going to do to keep my metabolism going? You need that estrogen content in order for your cardiovascular system to work. Teach them. That. So what you need to do is start eating foods that's high in fiber. You need to eat things that you have an estrogen content, such as soy and things of that nature. And therefore, you will also learn your body will change over time. Just because you're getting older, don't have to get fatter. Just because you're sitting at home, you don't have to get fat, you know? So maybe that's correctly. You don't have to get more weight. You don't have to get a weight gain. So, I mean, what is your guys' opinion on that? What should we do now that we're coming out of the pandemic? What are your suggestions for people to do? We have to change. We have to change it. What do you think, Gisselle?
I think there needs to be some clarification, though, on the small, frequent meals. Because I've had patients tell me, you know, I only eat, I do the 5 meals, Dr. Horn. I'm like, well, what you eating? Well, I got Popeyes for this meal. I got McDonald's for this meal. I was like, oh, no, sweetie, that's not what I mean.
Right.
A meal could be a yogurt and a piece of fruit. A meal could be a protein and a vegetable. I'm not saying Thanksgiving dinner 5 times a day. What I'm saying is healthy, smart choices and a colorful plate. When we say colorful, we mean fruits and vegetables of the rainbow. And if you know, a lot of like fried foods and stuff are brown. So you see people's plates like have fried chicken, a biscuit, gravy, and rice, potatoes. That's all brown. There's no color. Add some color to your diet, which will also increase the fiber.
That's good.
We're talking about ketosis, keto diets. If you're a diabetic, no nutritionist is going to tell you to do a keto diet. Keto diets or being in ketosis was originally designed for people who had seizure disorder, mainly children, to help control the amount of seizures they had. So it became a quick way to lose weight, but it also is not bad. It's not good, as Gwen stated, for your and Dr. Horn, for your kidneys. Gallstones are increased. Your cholesterol level. So if you're older and you're trying to lose weight, I don't recommend keto. I do recommend a lower carb diet, restricting your carbs to 40 to 60 carbs per meal, just like I would tell a diabetic. If you want to follow the ADA diet, which increases fruits and vegetables, that will get you on your way. But it's still a mental state. You can track all of that with any one of the apps we mentioned earlier.
Right.
MyFitnessPal and Weight Watchers, which is not expensive anymore.
Right. Promoting Weight Watchers.
Excuse me?
No, I'm just saying, I don't want these people to come after Gisselle. We're not promoting Weight Watchers.
No, but I'm telling you something that works. Now, Jenny Craig might work for somebody else, but I'm telling you, you're not going to be on Jenny Craig for the next millennium.
Jenny Craig, we have nothing to do that.
Real quick, we got Paula Williams says this. She says, I think I'm much more effective. There we go. It says, I think it's much more difficult to eat healthier when working from home. I have to do better. How do we, what do you guys suggest as medical professionals, and how do we get those sugary stuff out? Go ahead, Dr. Al.
Yeah, get them out of your refrigerator.
Right.
Get them out of your thing. You don't have to have cookies.
Right.
You can go to Costco's or one of those places and get the nuts and stuff like that. Put the nuts in your plate. You sitting at the computer all day, pop a nut in your mouth, an almond, something of that nature. You don't have to eat that. Celery sticks. We get into a point that, I'm one of the people, I have oral fixation. So if I'm working, I have to have something in my mouth. You have to pick a healthy choice. It's a mindset change. You're at the computer all day long.
Yeah.
You have to drink your water, your 64 ounces of water. You have that there. I like those I don't have it with me today. It has all the water that you're supposed to drink in your whole day. Have that at your thing. Go to the restroom. You should be getting up, walking, urinating every 2 to 3 hours. And then every time you're up, every hour, you should be moving, trying to get away from that computer, get out. That's the things that we're not doing anymore is because of the simple fact that we said, the excuse is I'm at home, I can't do anything. Yes, you can. You walk to that refrigerator. Let's make better choices when we walk to that refrigerator. One of the things I want to talk about, we have this group here, we have a controversy on, I am not a fan of intermittent fasting. Some people like intermittent fasting. And that's what I was talking about the other day. When you really think about how your body works, why would you want to fast, right? You say, okay, I need to burn my metabolism. To me, fasting means I'm not going to eat for 12 hours. So my body is going to hold on to everything in the world that it think it should hold on to because it never should eat again. So what does it start doing? You think you're losing weight because you're dehydrated. So you step on the scale and all the water weight is gone because you can't pee no more. You're in ketosis because you're burning off some muscle mass. And so what do you guys thought? I do not tell my patients about intermittent fasting. I don't like it.
That's good to know. Okay.
I have, like we said, I think all of us have done all of the above. Just say E, all of the above. We've tried it all. Mm-hmm. I found that intermittent fasting worked better when I was younger. Does zero effect now. Nothing. But I agree with Dr. Allen. There is no reason for you to do that when you can just make better choices. And I'm thinking for the young lady who was at her office, at her desk now, don't put the food on your desk. Make yourself get up and go get it and put it in a small appetizer plate so that you can eat a small portion control. If it's sitting there and you're grazing on nuts, now one portion of nuts is one thing, but the whole container is a whole nother story. So I don't think that having readily available food at your workplace is good. You need to move away from your workspace to eat. And I think that intermittent fasting, while it may work for others, I don't think it's the best option, but it is an option for some people.
Okay.
So I don't recommend
Dr. Horn?
I had more success with intermittent fasting when I am not stressed. When I am not stressed, I can stick to my 16-8, meaning 16 hours of fasting and 8-hour eating window. But I found myself trying to do it at the beginning of COVID, and I'd have a bad shift at work. And I am truly an emotional eater. So most
of us are.
I have raided the graham crackers and little juices at the hospital because I couldn't find anything else to eat. And I'll look up and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be eating right now. So for me, it doesn't work for me in a stressful situation. I do need to figure out a way to handle myself better in stressful situations, that I'm not grabbing for the sugary drinks and graham crackers. And I have tried what is working better for me now is I'll take grapes to work and cuties. Mm-hmm. And so at 3 a.m. when I'm up after delivery and I can't sleep, I'll eat a cutie or some grapes as opposed to eating graham crackers and juice. And I find that's working better for me.
But thank you. You both of you have said something very interesting. I love what Dr. Allen's saying. Say, hey, intermittent fasting. She doesn't necessarily recommend that. But then Dr. McKinney, you talked about how intermittent fasting. Now that you're older of a certain age, it definitely doesn't work with your body. Yeah. But then we also have to look at our stress levels and anxiety levels too when we're doing that, because it is harder to take onto those routines. And I think definitely we have seen. I'm calling this phase of this pandemic complicated anxiety, complicated depression, complicated grief, complicated PTSD, because we've never been here before. And so you're right. The natural thing I do, I ain't gonna show you on my desk. I got chips right here and hot tamales, and that I'm just doing this all day. But you're right. So I'm gonna go get me a case of nuts, but I'm gonna get. But they have the ones in the individual bags for you at Costco, so I get the ones. That's just a little thing, and making better decisions, because you're right. Now that it's lighter, I want to make sure I'm getting out there, exercising more, and even when I'm doing when I get my insomnia hits me about 3 times a month. But now I'm stretching and doing yoga with that, which helps relax my body as well. I'm not getting that slice of pizza at 3 a.m. like I normally would, but making better choices if we're going to live longer and value our lives. Go ahead, Dr. Allen.
And I think that's key, like what you said. It's when we put this together, and obesity is a silent killer along with heart disease. We talked about earlier that saying that when we go in now with your COVID vaccine, obesity is your risk factor, like Dr. Hawkins said earlier. So people don't understand. You're sitting at home, you're eating, you're increasing your risk of developing another, what we call a comorbidity, another thing that will make you sick. You're getting fatter. You're more susceptible to getting COVID. You're more susceptible to getting diabetes. You're more susceptible to getting cardiovascular disease. So we need to understand that we're putting ourselves at risk. We think that we can eat anything we want to, my metabolism, is slowing down. So I have an excuse that I'm getting bigger because I'm sitting at home. There's no excuse, but we're killing ourselves. The COVID is doing it, as well as we're just sitting there doing it to ourselves. So we need to take responsibility for our own actions when we're sitting at home.
That's good.
Because if not, we're going to, die off as a people. When people say Black women are morbidly obese or obese, that's not a good thing. Why would somebody look at all Black women and think that they should be a certain way and that everybody should be hypertensive and diabetic? But when you look at somebody of a majority race, you don't talk about them. I didn't know, I'm from California, everybody knows. I didn't know the other majority people got fat until I went to the South. I was like, oh, they eat greens and pork chops just like me. But no one put that picture together. They always put it on us. It is us, and we should do better about that, because I don't want to die. I don't want to see us as a Black race saying that Black women are morbidly obese because we like to be thick. And that's like when we started off the show, we got to get that out of our head, ladies. We have to say that, this thick stuff is, if he wants you for everything, and not because you got, this big behind over here and this small waist and boobs out here, and we pushing them all up to look good. But are we healthy? And that's the thing that we have to say to ourselves. Are we really healthy when we look the way we do? And people say I'm not body shaming. What I am telling you is just to say that we need to take control of our lives, and we need to take control of our bodies, and we need to watch what we put in our mouth, and we need to understand that the things that we put in our mouth decreases our longevity. And that's what people want to understand.
We have a question here too.
Unhealthy small people.
Yes.
Have horrible cholesterol. They have horrible eating habits. Have high blood pressure. But there are also healthier, heavy people. All we're saying is find that happy medium for you. There are people who run marathons that weigh 200 plus pounds and work out every day. Their diet may be horrible, which is why they probably haven't lost anything, but they're in pretty good shape. They could probably run circles around me right about now. But we need to find that happy medium where we're getting a balance of exercise, a balance of fruits and foods, and we have to address the racial biases in the Black communities in order to get a better outcome. We'll be happy to build a dialysis in the hood, but we won't put a grocery store. We'll be in the Black neighborhood, but we won't even put a daggone farmer's market. Come on. We can do other things to make it better for the Black or people of color, because it happens to Latinas, the Indian population as well. All people of color are fighting the same problem.
Battle.
We just have to figure out a way to get to a better outcome for us all.
Love that. We had a question here that Daryl, can you pull up the one for Georgia Wright Lane? She says, can you speak on inflammation in the body as it relates to obesity? So, Dr. Allen, can you start that one?
See, when we talk about certain things, the inflammation, when you go to your doctor's office and things like that, they do what we call a CRP and to look at inflammation. Most of the time, we're looking at joints and things of that nature. So some people you'll see with rheumatoid arthritis and things of that nature. And so sometimes with the joint that are fused together will cause problems with you being able to exercise. But far as an inflammatory process that actually causes obesity or causes you to eat a little bit more, I've never heard of that. And Dr. Horn or Dr. McKinney, do you know anything about that?
I'm not sure with the caller if she can be more specific about what questions she's asking. People want to say that they have a hereditary or genetic predisposition to being big. I think the commonality in that is a fork. Your family is used to feeding you all a particular way, and all of you all think you all big boned, but what you are is big appetites.
Right.
So
because everyone in the family is eating the same way.
Exactly. Yes.
And call it hereditary, and that's just
right. It's not true. But when she's talking about inflammation, if you're saying that obesity can lead to inflammation, yes. If you're overweight, you can end up with joint problems. Some of us get it anyway because we get older and we get arthritis. Right. But if you're carrying around a significant amount of weight with a BMI at least over 40, even in the 30 to 40 range and up, you're going to end up tearing up the cartilage in your knees, cartilage in your hips. Even if you run, you're going to run your hip out, run your knee out. You're going to end up with those things. What we put in our diet as well helps contribute to more mucus production and inflammation. If you're eating a lot of meats, some of those meats like red meats are going to increase your inflammation. Some of those, cheese, milk, and dairy products will increase your inflammation and mucus production. So that can help lead to other problems. So I'm not saying don't eat any cheese or dairy, but I am saying pull up on it. I'm not saying don't eat meat, but I am saying use it in moderation. You can eat healthier options like fish, more vegetables, more chicken. Don't eat fried chicken. Popeyes is delicious, but she's supposed to be in your diet like maybe once a month, not every week. Bring your food to work. It'll also we should talk about finances one day. It will help with your wallet and with your waistline. So we just make better choices.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Wow, we're getting close to the end, but let's real quick about even what we have been talking about, and everyone praised the thanks for the information. 2 weeks ago when we talked about the vaccination, I had so many people did email me and talk about they are now getting the vaccination because of this. So this is absolutely amazing. And I can't thank you guys enough for committing to doing this, because our passion is to help our Black and brown communities.
That is correct.
And to change I say it this way, stinking thinking. If I were doing cognitive behavior, mind over food, mind over hunger, mind, and making sure we're getting our mind in the right spot. Before we close, because I know this has all been about obesity and the pandemic, for those of us who are more obese or our BMIs are higher than, definitely, we want to recommend, and I don't want to leave without recommending still about the vaccination, so that we need protection and all the extra help with that. Dr. Allen, can you speak to that a little bit, please?
I think one of the things that is still in the media that still raised doubt, I work with a couple of people who still have not taken their vaccines, but when it hits you now, it's hitting hard than ever before. We're not saying don't take the vaccine. One is better than the other. Any vaccine at this point is better than nothing.
Right.
We're still stuck in a pandemic. Do not let yourself go on because it's like going into a battle without a gun. So therefore you need to say, I want to put on my armor. How can I protect myself? I need to be vaccinated. You want to be around. Everybody, oh, this is a hoax. It is not a hoax. I have a colleague of mine who is hospitalized and will have to have a lung transplant because of the fact that this COVID is real. So we tell you to go out into the community. Please get yourself vaccinated. You have to. Now everybody now is on this kick that AstraZeneca is a bad vaccine. Over in Europe, it costs us to have blood clots, and then they're giving us false data because this data was produced before the deadline. But you got to understand that these vaccines are being studied and tried. It is now, I got my vaccine in December. It is now March. I still look the same. I don't have any horns or no scales.
No horns.
No horns, no scales, no nothing. People say, what about your 5 or your 10 years? But I will be around to live to those 5
That's
and
right.
10 years. Well, are we going to have to take the vaccines every year? You take the flu shot every year and nothing has happened. Remember when we start taking the flu vaccine, people didn't want to take that, but now it became a part of our lives.
Yes.
For the people who are in our age group, we have those little messed up things on our shoulder because we had to get the MMR polio vaccine, all those things, right? So then now, because we took those vaccines, we eradicated a disease. So therefore, this is a process that's going on. No one is trying to kill us. People are trying to help us. And so we need to understand that no one is going to look out for us but us. So you got to understand that I'm not selling a product. I'm not selling a vaccine. What I'm trying to do is have a healthier people. And we need to be around to think about these things.
Yes. Can one of you address definitely that question? I'm sorry, real quick. It says, are there things we can do to prepare for the second vaccination? I hear a lot of people are getting sick from the second vaccination.
Well, they get more symptoms. I would just say Tylenol or Motrin or Aleve because it gives you more muscle tenderness. You might feel a little tired. Some people have upper respiratory symptoms, but they're transitory. So they may last 24 to 48 hours and they're gone, where COVID is forever. Some of these people are gone. And some of these people are getting lung transplants, losing limbs, having permanent lung problems.
Talk about it. Yes.
Deal with the 24 to 48 hours with some Tylenol and rest, and you'll be just fine.
Yes. Go ahead, Dr. McKinney. You were going to further and what Dr. Allen was saying about the pandemic. It sounded like that's where you go before I cut you off.
Oh, well, I was just saying that people have long since, back when we were all in medical school, we thought we had reached this pinnacle of information and education where we were going to eradicate all types of diseases like polio, the chicken pox, the measles, mumps, and rubella, because everybody was getting vaccines. And out of nowhere came this distrust of medicine. And we've come to the information age where information that is put out there is like Fox News. It's not even, it's pandering to a particular audience. Now nobody trusts the information that got you to this point. So we're not vaccinating people anymore. We're arguing about whether anybody actually dies of the flu when they actually do. Now we're trying to quantify how deadly is the coronavirus. So, and that corona didn't exist before now when we already knew it did. We just gave a name to this one. It's corona or COVID-19. So there must have been 18 before it, right? So we have to stop being silly and politicizing this disease and any other disease and understand that the vaccine was made for, or any vaccine is made for something that killed a bunch of people, including the flu, the SARS, or H1N1.
Right.
Was it the chicken dengue and all those other things that came out that were pandemics that we took care of?
Yes.
We have to give the same attention to this one, or 1% or 1.8% of the United States population will continue to die. That's how we're almost 600,000 people dead. And so when you say 99% of the people will live, that doesn't account. So you're okay with 3 million people potentially dying? How did we get here? 3 million people could potentially die if we lose 1.8% of the United States population. And if that's okay with you, something is morally bankrupt with us.
Right.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I also want to add, if you do have a BMI over 30, you're considered obese. And a lot of states now are giving the vaccine to people with pre-existing conditions. So obesity is a pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
And so when your state opens up, like for now, Illinois is giving it to anyone 18 and over with a pre-existing condition like asthma or hypertension.
Right.
Obesity is one of those as well. So it might be your turn to get your vaccine.
Right.
Check
That's
with your
great.
state.
Right.
That's
Yep.
great. Go to your CVS. Go ahead,
Right.
Dr. Allen.
One of the things that I want to point out in the essence of time is that no one can kill us but us. So
That's good.
one of the things you have to sit down and say, hey, not everybody has a target on their back and not everything is bad. If you look at the group of women and also Marty that we have today, is that by other standards, we should not be here, but we're here to educate our people because this
That's
is
right.
our choice. So
Yes.
make excellent choices, make good food choice, make educational decisions, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own life, not your government, not your man,
That's right.
not anybody but yourself. And so only one who's killing you is you. So get up,
Yeah.
get moving, take your vaccines, and and let's live on. Let's have longevity in our thing. I hate when they say Black people only live to the age 70.
That's right.
Let's get over that, people. Let's change our life and our lifestyles.
Yeah.
Totally agree, because they're saying that this pandemic has taken 3 years off of the average African Black life, 2 years off the average Hispanic, and 1 year off of the average Caucasian. The reason why it's taken more off of us, because of the comorbidities that we deal with. And
That is
that's what we're
absolutely
trying to educate us about today. Wow, this hour always go by so fast. It really, really does. Dr. McKinney, again, as always, can't thank you enough. You are amazing. How can we get a hold of you, and how can the viewers continue to follow you on social media and maybe even make an appointment? Bring cash or your insurance card. We are not doing anything free.
Where the money resides, where the money resides. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and you can contact me at Lake Charles Memorial Hospital for Women. We are at the women's campus on Gaucher, and we are accepting all patients. So come on by and see us.
Love it. We have to support our own in our community. Yes. Dr. Horn, although you're out here in Cali right now, getting your Cali on, how can we follow you and stay in touch with you?
I am on Instagram and Facebook as well, and I'm at Family Christian Health Center in Harvey, Illinois. And we've just opened up a new women's center in Harvey, right across the street from Ingalls Hospital. So you can find us. Just Google me. You'll find me.
Love it. Love it. And as always, Dr. Allen from the Women's Gardena Center, one of the sponsors for today's show.
Sponsor. You guys can find me in Gardena Women's Center, GardinaWomenCenter.com. Come on by. You can give us a call at any time. Just going to make sure we're here to talk to you. We're here for the community. So I hope at any time, if anyone have any questions, just, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me in my office, and you can find me at multiple hospitals in Los Angeles.
Yes. Awesome. Listen, I can't thank you guys enough, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. This is what we do. And definitely, please keep us posted about Dr. Shelly. We are definitely concerned about her mother, and our hearts and prayers go out to her. Listen, we want to thank you again for joining us for House Calls with Dr. Allen and Mental Health Matters with Marty. You could have chosen any other platform, but we're so glad that you have chosen this one. Join us in 2 more weeks, because we want to make sure that we're making a difference. Please tag someone in the comment section. Let someone else know. Host a watch party. Do whatever that's necessary, because we don't want people to continue to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but we want them to speak up about their mental health. So you can find me on Facebook at Mental Health Matters with Marty, and on YouTube at Martinez Sellers. And please follow my website at mentalhealthmarty.com, where we have wonderful shirts. This one is not mine, but we want you to know that you do matter with that. But I have wonderful shirts on there and other, what is it called? Other paraphernalia. That's it, to help you along your mental health journey. But finally, join my podcast at Mental Health Matters with Marty and become an I Matter member by texting I Matter to 855-717-1272, where you can get all the latest updates and find out when we're going to be doing this show again. Join us again in 2 more weeks as we continue this amazing dialogue with house calls with the doctors. We are so glad that this has helped you. We want to make sure that you live your best life and have an amazing life with that. So in order to do that, we always want you to speak up, speak out, and live. And as always, enjoy your life. See you next time.